Lending ladies and forgery fellas. Extend the line of your home equity. Take the worms out for an afternoon of email fishing. And remember, I like my lovers like I like my transaction fees. Foreign.
Why that accent?
I don't know. It was a spur.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Omen Thomas Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together, we are a reasonable investment, the Feckless Momes.
And this, my little old ladies who pay for your groceries using a physical check, is Talk Tull to me.
A pre-authorized prance through the principal balances of prog rock, in which Negotiable Nick and Overdraft Omen enjoy the compound interest of each and every track that reverse mortgage rock band Jethro Tull have ever deposited into a long-term musical maturity fund. We will ask David Goodyear to be the guarantor on our garage grant, become the power of attorney for Pete Judge's flugelhorn, and fine-tune Florian Opale's fiduciary. And if we can satisfy our safety deposit boxes, pamper the pre-prog payments, and cause delight with our dazzling deposit slips, perhaps we will extend our line of credit with the savings account Scotsman, the Loch Lomond liquidator, the fixed expense flautist, chair of the Pet a Pretty Kitty Committee, Ian Amortization Anderson.
Omen, I have to break something to you.
Oh no, what is it? I'm ready.
It's flugelhorn, not flugelhorn.
Oh, I thought it was a horn that you played fugues on.
Nope, it is a brass instrument that resembles the trumpet and cornet, but has a wider, more conical bore.
It's the flugelhorn.
It's the flugelhorn.
Well, you know, it's better to know now than later. I appreciate your honesty.
Well, that's the second time you've called it a flugelhorn, so we're pretty late in the game, but it's okay, it's fine.
Speaking of mysterious instruments, Nick, what is it that we are here to talk about this fine, chilly afternoon?
We are here to discuss another medley, Omen, Thomas Sade. We're here to talk the starter of Gerald the Banker. We've got a quick little jaunt of Upper Sixth Loan Shark, and then to round out the second half of the episode, we will discuss Banker Bets, Banker Wins.
So just to be clarified here, Banker Bets, Banker Wins, and Upper Sixth, The Lone Shark are a single track on the digital album.
They are considered a medley. Everything that I've seen has them as two.
I see. But they are paired, they are a bonded pair, and they can't be listened to separately or they'll start over-grooming.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Over-grooming, meaning they'll groom so much that they start to lose hair. Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. Exactly. And a hairless song is a terrible thing.
Nobody wants that.
Well then, why don't we get into the first version of Gerald Bostock, Whatever Happened To?
Gerald Bostock of Whatever Happened To fame.
And jump into, we will twist the kaleidoscope of music until we can see him as a banker.
Let's do that. Everybody squint.
I don't know why that's the noise.
I don't make that noise when I squint.
I've been asked to stop making that noise when I squint. Can you read this line? Not necessary, sir.
Please, sir. I've asked you once.
Frightening the ophthalmologist. Nick.
Omen.
That was the first portion of the medley known as Gerald the Banker.
That it was our first portion. We get just a brief little glimpse into Gerald here. Just under a minute 15 of Gerald's life. It's very transitional sounding, very transitional feeling.
Yeah, well, let's talk about how it sounds. It's quite light.
Yes. Yeah, it feels, if we are to see this as a stage show, and I'm finding it difficult not to. Not entirely sure why, but I see this musically.
Sure.
This is kind of the little interlude while our scene is getting changed. I think we discussed this on a different track earlier as well. It feels like this is filler, kind of introducing the idea of what's coming next without giving us too much detail, just so the high school students can spin the set around and make it look like a skyscraper.
I totally see that. I also think that there's, along with that, there is a really commonly done stage storytelling element that seems to be at play here, which is you see the child version of the character downstage doing a little vignette, and then that kid runs off stage back to the green room to do its homework, and the stage opens up, and now it's the adult version of that kid.
Yes, also playing with trucks.
And then you suddenly have that oh no, that kid grew up to be mean.
Yeah.
And the contrast that's between these two tracks is delightful. It hammers home that exact feeling.
Right. So you're saying, is the kid on for upper sixth and then the adult comes in for banker bets?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. It does feel like there is that, not innocence per se, but there is a bit of lightheartedness here.
Yes.
That comes with the idea of where's this kid going to go? And then you see them come out.
And you're like, ooh.
Yeah, a blue button down with the white collar, the ultimate douchebag uniform. Yeah.
Right. 90s
power suit.
90s power suit?
Yeah. Not quite
90s
a suit,
man.
Yeah. 90s white collar man.
90s white collar man. The first part of this with Upper Sixth, Lone Shark, is pretty delicate with the music. We have Ian's beautiful acoustic. We have Ian's lovely voice, sort of at a lower tempo.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that much else going on. A little bit of Glock action.
We get some Glock, yep.
We have a sound that I would describe as sort of a crying sound occasionally. It sort of just goes, wow.
That's got to be electric, right?
I was thinking it's the electric guitar, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Where did it come from? Where's it going?
The acoustic of note is mostly plucked, except for the rare instance where we get an actual chord. But normally it's like this kind of plucky bit.
It's the kind of finger picking.
Yeah, right.
Did you feel that there is a little bit of a similarity, a resonance in between the introduction sound, where did it come from, where's it going?
Where did it come from, where's it going?
Between this and Where Did Saturday Go, off of The Zealot Gene.
Where did Saturday go? Lost in a whirlwind, heady passion.
I didn't place it, but I knew full well that it was from Zealot Gene. It just sounded like it, yeah.
It's a very similar tune.
Yeah.
And kind of a similar delivery.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Just for that one section, and then of course it goes a different direction after that. But it's funny where you hear those little listening with the benefit of all these already being out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, there's that idea there again.
We are approaching it with advantage here. If Zealot Gene had come out and we decided to continue with the chronology of the albums, and we haven't covered that yet, we certainly wouldn't cotton on to it. Maybe we would have figured it out when we got to Where Did Saturday Go? But yeah, we do have the full knowledge of the Tull oeuvre. And these albums are special for any number of reasons.
Yeah.
They are that missing link stepping stone. They introduce us to the new personnel. They introduce us to the idea of Ian as Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
And the idea of him playing with these certain sounds, because there are a lot of similar sounds between here and Zealot Gene. And even some of the harder things sound like they belong in rock flute at times.
And there are plenty of sounds that we hear in this album that are echoes of what we've had in the past,
That's right. Yeah.
I'm glad that we convinced ourselves to talk about this album.
Yeah.
Because it really is a fascinating transition point. And it's great. I mean, it's so enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's not a ton, of music, unless you have anything else with this little first section, we should jump into the lyrics.
I've got just 2 more things.
Good.
We've got synth at about 30 seconds. I can't tell if it's on flute setting or organ. Is there a special name for the organ that uses air specifically?
The aerated organ.
The aeronautical organ, the pneumatic organ.
The pneumatic organ, I think that's it.
Fond horizon, firstborn thanks, allowances all overspent.
So that synth is a really interesting choice because everything else leading up to that has been acoustic. Well, no, that's not true because we do have that weird electric-y cry.
Right.
But I think that's different because it's not melodious. It's just kind of punctuated.
Yeah.
So we have Ian's acoustic, we have the Glock, we have the cry, then we have that synth that gives us a little kind of stingy, a little melody there. And then right around 40, I think I heard a single bass note, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think I caught it anywhere else, but I'm pretty sure there was a single bass note there.
Safely deposited.
I would not put it past the personnel and artistic direction for this album to say we would like one bass note at exactly 40 seconds in and then nothing.
Yeah, the only way to be more stealth bassist is to stand there and play with your guitar unplugged, your bass guitar unplugged.
Right. Of course, we do get the bass coming in the next portion of the medley, but in the next portion of the medley, I said it right the first time.
You did.
But before we get there, let's talk about what is an upper sixth loan shark.
Yeah, let's get into lyrics, right? Yeah.
So what's a loan shark?
So a loan shark is someone who loans folks money at exorbitant interest rates.
Typically, yep.
They are the worst of the usurers, basically.
Yeah.
They're student loan guarantors. So they either get their money back when people pay back the money with that exorbitant, like 100%, 200% interest rate, or they go and break your legs and take your stuff for collateral.
Exactly. There's the implication. When I hear loan shark, it's not just a dubious loan. It's a dubious loan that has an element of danger to it.
Correct, yeah. And shark to me has the connotation of them preying on people.
Exactly.
Only being available or making themselves available to the lowest common denominator. They wouldn't loan out to someone who needs a mortgage for their house.
Right.
They would be like a check cashing station.
Right. They look for somebody who's desperate.
Yeah. Who needs the money now, and consequences will have to be addressed further down the line.
Yeah, exactly. We also use the term pool shark. Although I've also heard it called a pool sharp.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's traditionally pool sharp. I think it has morphed into shark.
Because it has that kind of implication of somebody who preys on people and says, well, let's, oh, you're doing great. Let's make the game a little interesting.
I've also heard card sharp as well.
A card shark.
Card shark or sharp.
A sharp shark.
The sharpest shark there is. Is that a ringer, basically, where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm really shitty at pool. Do you want to play me?
Yeah.
And then you bet money and you lose the first couple of games and then you keep upping and upping. And you're like, you know what? Triple or nothing, last chance. Give me just one more chance. And then you kick their ass. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now for the Britishification of our American minds.
Oh, give it to me.
What is the upper sixth?
Oh, upper sixth. I always interpreted it as Upper 6th Avenue or something. So it's like a really swanky neighborhood.
You are incorrect.
Okay.
It has to do with the British school system.
Oh.
So sixth form is the final 2 years of secondary education.
Okay.
Upper sixth would be the second of those 2 years. So really the final year of your secondary education, students are preparing for the A levels.
So 17, 18.
17, 18, 16 to 18 maybe.
Yeah.
It's sort of both the most serious part of school academically because you're preparing for these tests that, as we talked about before, kind of determine the rest of your future as an individual.
Yeah.
But it's also, maybe the bit where you are we would say in America, you're the senior, and so you have senior privilege.
Right. So it's just before uni, and it really
Exactly.
sets the tone for the rest of your life.
So an upper sixth loan shark is somebody who is in school and lending money.
Yeah.
A very enterprising lad.
Wow. Wow. That changes my view on this wholeheartedly.
If we skip the first verse momentarily
Okay.
and get into the middle verse.
Yeah.
Fauntleroys and first form fags, allowances all overspent.
Fauntleroys and first form fags, allowances all overspent.
Now, first of all, in this case, the word fag is not a slur. It refers to, in the British school system, it is somebody who is like the assigned freshman of an upperclassman,
Oh.
kind of a gopher / fudge boy.
Like a runner kind of
Yeah,
thing?
kind of like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
You have the upper grade kids.
Oh, first form being like 6th grade, 7th grade, somewhere around there. Or, yeah, I guess it would be like 6th grade.
I think so.
Yeah,
And, typically you'd all be there together. Fauntleroy is a reference to
Prince Fauntleroy? Is that what
Little
it was?
Prince Fauntleroy. Yes, it's from a cartoon. The implication is somebody who's effete, not very capable, but has money.
Yeah, Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Little Lord Fauntleroy.
By Francis Hodgson Burnett. Originally published in 1886.
Oh, wow.
A children's novel published as a serial. The title surname Fauntleroy is an Anglo-French term ultimately derived from l'enfant le roi, evoking the image of being pampered and spoiled.
There it is.
L'enfant le roi being child of the king. So Little Prince. Little Prince. Yeah.
So, Fauntleroys and first form fags, allowances all overspent. So, if you're in boarding school, you would have a certain amount of spending money, and some of these kids would burn through it.
Yeah.
In steps Gerald.
Right. And the Fauntleroy comes with the idea of they come from money, so they have money, but they don't have access to daddy's purse strings while they're at school.
All the time. Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're good for it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And then the next line, Patter's guilty generosity safely deposited against a rainy day.
Patter's guilty generosity safely deposited against rainy day.
Pater is the Latin word, like paternoster,
Father. Yeah.
father.
Yep.
So I get from this, Gerald's own father is fairly generous with his allowance, and he doesn't ever spend it.
Exactly.
He only ever loans it out to make more money back.
Exactly.
It's kind of amazing. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of at this stage, like rooting for the kid, right?
I know he's ambitious.
He's ambitious. He's playing the system.
He's enterprising. You know,
Yes.
he's got his own
Yes.
business. He
Yes.
knows exactly what to do and how to do it. I still have difficulty delaying satisfaction, you know,
Yeah.
like saving shit.
Yeah.
So it's impressive for a 12th grader, 6th form.
If we jump back to the first verse, we kind of get this sense that he has this unusual gift. Where did it come from? Where is it going? Upper sixth, the loan shark, numbers flowing from the pen that never forgets, recording ledgers, each way, safe bets.
Where did it come from? Where's it going? Upper six loan shark, numbers flowing from the pen that never forgets, recording ledgers, each way safe bets.
He's got a system.
Mm-hmm. The numbers flowing from the pen that never forgets. He's got his little book.
Oh, yeah.
He's got his little bookie book. He knows who owes what and interest and all that. Recording ledgers, each way safe bets. So is that saying that he knows the Fauntleroy is good for it, so he knows he'll get his money back? And he knows that the first form fag might not be good for it, so he can get recompense either in increased interest eventually or
services.
Some other service. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he never makes a bad investment.
Mm-hmm.
All of his investments pay off.
Yeah.
I love the line, where did it come from? Where is it going? Looking at this kind of in reverse like this makes me think that it's, where did he get this idea? Where did he get this system? Where did he get this gift for math?
Yeah.
Who knows? He's a talented kid, but where is it going?
Yeah.
Is ultimately answered in the second part of the medley.
Right. What's he going to do with this? Is this just like a thing that he does to earn a couple bob in sixth form, or?
And the way that it's presented is this very like, oh, it's just this innocent kind of funny thing. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like the kid who, I heard something about a kid who, he had like Cheez-Its, but he would put them in little tiny plastic baggies. His mom would give him a big bag of Cheez-Its for his lunch and he would cut it into little bits and, be like, you want to buy a dime bag of Cheez-Its for 25 cents?
He was a pusher. He was a cheese pusher.
Yeah. The first Cheez-It is free. And then we have the final verse of this. There's money in those goddamn hills. Interest in sugar-coated bitter pills.
There's money in those goddamn hills. Interest in sugar-coated bitter pills.
The phrase I've always heard is, there's gold in them there hills.
Yeah, right. But this is a much more modernized phrasing.
Yes, and what are the hills in this context?
So the gold in the hills is in reference to out west, the kind of unnameable hills, the mountains.
Whether it be the Yukon or the mountains in California or wherever the gold rush was taking place at that moment.
Yeah, where they would go to potentially mine for gold. And more often than not, it was very, very rare that anyone would find gold. However, there were a whole hell of a lot of loan sharks out there.
Absolutely.
Like, here, you know what? I will fund for your expedition. Here's the shovels and the pickaxe.
I'll take care of your upfront costs.
Yeah. You just pay me back.
I've always heard that the people who really made money in the gold rush were not only that ilk, but then the people selling shovels.
Yes. Yep. I heard that too just recently that there was this footprint of this guy like directly on the way, X number of miles outside of the last big city. As soon as he knew that the rush was starting, he bought up every piece of digging equipment in that city and stationed himself a couple dozen miles out.
Yeah.
And he sold everything at twice the price.
Of course. Everyone's in that excitement stage. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll be able to pay it back. Yeah.
I think what I'm getting, from this is our Gerald, whom whatever happened to, is kind of having this realization of, oh, I could actually do this for a living. Like I could make real money for this.
Okay. He sees it as a translatable talent, I guess, a translatable skill. And the money being, I see these opportunities and these rubes in high school. Of course, they're going to be out there in the real world as well.
Yeah. And maybe just the sense of like, this isn't just something I'm doing for money. I actually really enjoy this.
I'm good at it and I like it.
Margins made from Tompkins Minor float aspirations, nothing finer.
Margins made from Tompkins Minor float aspirations, nothing finer.
I think that Tompkins Minor must be the school.
I know. I was trying to figure that out, if that was like a bank name or something. I looked up Tompkins Minor Bank and all I got was Tompkins County Bank, which is right around here.
I bet if we looked at the original publication of Thick as a Brick 1,
ooh,
I feel like Gerald went to Tompkins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
To me, that reads as the whatever school he's at.
Yes. Yeah.
The margins that he made, he had good margins in school.
So what's a margin here?
So margin is how much you make by lending out the money.
Right, your profit.
Exactly. If I lend you $1 at 100% interest, I get back $2. That's a very good margin. That's 100% margin.
I've made $1 just lending you $1.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why they say a penny lent is a penny saved. A penny lent is a penny earned. Give me your pennies, you'll see them again someday.
Why do they say that? A penny? No, is it a penny saved is a penny earned?
Right.
But I mean, that's dumb. That of course it is. Like what? That doesn't even need to be an adage.
I think the implication is that saving takes effort. It's not a passive act.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It is as hard as working in a way.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to work twice as hard just to keep your money, basically, is what you're saying.
With inflation the way it is today, absolutely.
In this economy? Yeah, so The margins made in school, they float aspirations. Like you said,
Yes.
that's his idea of, oh, you know what? I'm good at this. I can do this. This is what I should aspire to.
And then we have that beautiful musical transition. I think the musical transition from teenage Gerald to adult Gerald is done so skillfully with the music.
Mm-hmm.
There's a note of disquietude. There is more than a dash of bravado that comes in. There is the sense of power coming from the electric guitar, the drums, and the bass, and the organ.
What a juxtaposition.
Yes, yes.
Between that first, much lighter, not like little kid innocent sound, but there's still potential there where this could go positively or not positively.
You sort of get the sense of like, oh, he has his whole life ahead of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And we see how he's starting his trajectory, and maybe it's a good thing.
Sure.
And then we get that, well, I think like maybe 15 seconds of kind of build in of the start of Banker Bets. So it's still acoustic, but we get that mystery synth of ba-da-da, ba-da-da.
Yeah.
It's a little bit darker. So we get those two little stings, and then it goes into the acoustic strumming. Of course, obviously, gorgeous Ian strumming.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that doesn't last very long. That's about 2 to 5 seconds. And then we get into boom, our reveal.
Worth noting that in this second section in Banker Bets, Banker Wins, there are a number of phrases that are reworkings, replicas, or references to the original Thick as Brick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Even that kind of underlying musical bass that we have, that da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. We have Florian stepping out of his shell.
Yeah.
We have a little taste of him.
Oh, yeah. So after those strums, the drum and bass come in really solid, really nice. They really start to deliver. At that 1:30 moment that you were saying, that's when Ian's voice gets filtered.
Yes. Treat myself to quality time.
So we get the filtered voice. That's when flute comes in.
Oh, yes.
And then at about 1:45 is the start of that actually fairly exceptionally long guitar breakdown with Florian.
I wrote down a chance for Florian, Captain of Gondor, to show his quality.
Yeah, he's ripping the hell out of it.
It's fantastic.
And it's a long run.
You know, I've said probably too many times that Florian is not in my top 3 guitarists for Jethro Tull.
How many have there been?
3?
4 with Jack.
4. Well, 5 with Mick Abrahams.
Oh yeah, mix my bottom. Mix a bottom for me.
Mm. But I really love what he's doing here.
Yeah.
And it does feel like at this point in the album, he's kind of earned his keep, and Ian says, right, Florian, let's see what you can do.
Go, Florian, go.
Fly. And he does. And it's great. It's really, really fun. It's really expressive. It's It's got both precision and grunge, kind of what we have come to expect from a Jethro Tull guitarist, if you will.
At this point, yeah, certainly the later years. At this point in our time frame, we've only ever had Martin.
Except for Mick Abrahams.
He doesn't count, Omen.
He does. He's on one album.
You're right.
He plays the guitar.
You're right. So we've only ever had Martin. And
Yep. Agreed.
so I can see bits and pieces where Martin, particularly later in the years, I feel like Martin was kind of toying with a sound slightly close to this. But Florian is really taking it the next step in the sound. And I don't think it's a matter of like, oh, well, here's the trajectory where Martin was going. Let me take that.
Yes.
I think maybe that's sonically what Ian wanted, since he hired Florian into the band.
And this solo is the first moment in my listening to Florian chronologically that I feel it's not just him dutifully playing very, very well what Ian has asked him to play.
Correct.
He's now actually showing us who he is.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I wonder if his playing, and I'm sure there is some effect from the Steve Wilson remixing or mixing.
Oh,
here,
sure.
rather. He did the original mixing. But Florian has this very clean feel to his rocking. It's like the kind of rocking you would hear at a recital. It's like, I learned how to play the rock and roll, and I shall do so here.
And now one of our most wonderful students will play the electric guitar.
Florian Opale with some Jethro Tull.
It is very clean. It's very
Yeah.
studied. He doesn't have that feeling of, like you said, Ian hired the sound that he wanted.
Yeah.
They are no longer a scrappy bunch of starving artists from Blackpool living in Luton.
Yeah.
They are an international sound with a long history,
Right.
and kind of can choose anybody that they want.
Sure. Yeah. And Ian being the decider of sound and trajectory, he clearly hired Florian for a reason.
Yeah. And now we know
Because Florian was the only one who tried out.
who showed up. Oh, am I in the right spot?
he was the janitor. They saw him pick up a guitar and rock out.
Come down to the empty fish and chip shop on 13th Street.
God, what was that movie? Oh, Good Will Hunting. It's like Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
But instead of how do you like them apples, it's how do you like them licks?
Yeah. Florian Opale is the Harrison Ford of guitarists. They were like, we just need one. We're one person short. We need somebody to hold this guitar.
Right, exactly. And then he started to play it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there is something very clean about this whole album.
Yeah.
Particularly Florian's sound. It's wonderful.
For those confused, Harrison Ford was a carpenter on a movie set.
He was.
And they're like, we just need somebody here.
When they were auditioning for Star Wars, they literally needed a reader.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, Harrison, put down your screw gun and come hold this script. You can read, can't you?
And they just forgot to audition anyone else for Han Solo.
But I think they did audition a bunch of other people, but they liked his rough, unpolished attitude.
Yeah, right. And he never lost it.
His Harrison Ford ability.
His Harrison Fortitude.
That's so much better. It's not even in the same league. The structure of this song, you were saying that it sounds a bit busy, and I don't disagree with you, but it's interesting to me that the structure of this song musically, in terms of the chord progression, is very straightforward.
Yes.
It's kind of one riff over and over again with like one or two variations.
Yeah.
Even the melody that he's singing, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
For 4 out of the 5 verses, and then Treat Myself to Quality Time has a little bit of a bridge. It's a little bit different, but it's not that much different.
Right. It's more sung there. There's a manicness that we get in that Treat Myself section that we don't have elsewhere.
Yeah.
Which does nice to break it up because, like you said, there is a lot of the same repetition. It's not super noticeable for a 4.5 minute song. It's not super noticeable because there is a lot going on underneath to make all of that melange have that repetition. So
Yes.
It's easy to fall back to, oh, now we're hearing the flute and now we're hearing the guitar. But I mean, ultimately it's da-na-na, da-na-na,
Yes.
da-na-na-na. Repeat.
Yep, yeah. Now, what is the time signature?
Oh, my lord. Na-na-na, na-na-na. Hang on. I can't do it like you can.
I love watching you suffer like this. It's my only joy in life.
Oh, wait, now listen, hang on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4.
Interesting. I would say no.
Or 6, 4.
I would say it's in 6/4.
Okay.
I think it's counted in 6 because, or I would say it's a 4-2 split.
Okay.
But it is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, bum, 1, 2, coming back to that one there. So
Okay.
if you count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if you count it as, I tried counting it in 3 and it doesn't really have that.
Yeah, you're in the middle of the phrase when you hit that 3.
Exactly.
It doesn't end comfortably, yeah.
And then I think there are a couple of accidental measures thrown in there where there's one extra beat or one fewer beat
Yeah.
to make whatever transition happen. But it seems to always go back to that 6/4.
Intentional, accidental.
Yes, exactly. And it's pretty slow overall. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2. It doesn't feel slow when you listen to it, but the actual tempo is relatively unfast.
Right. Again, because of the layers and those interlaced pieces,
Yes.
keeping everything going forward and sounding complex, sounding nougaty.
Nougatine.
Nougatine.
It's not full fast, it's half fast.
It's half-assed.
It's half-assed.
Half-assed.
Anything else to say musically besides that riff that takes us out? Tickata, 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 tickata.
After we get that longer breakdown with Florian, and then we get 2 more verses, during those verses after that break, Florian does not stick with the bulk of it. He's only bwow, bwow. He's only doing stings for that second portion, which is really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, because we have Ian coming in with the flute to take over the melody.
Yes. Yeah, there's, I wouldn't say quite a call and response per se, but there's a little bit of communication between the two there that it helps to add more variety.
Yeah.
Fast track futures and hard nut traders, feeding frenzy, pigs are troughing, fueled by forecasts and hot share options, big fat bonus in the upping.
After the last verse, we've got an additional minute of the bass and the drums staying strong behind us, with Florian flute and synth kind of taking turns on leading us out for that last 45, 60 seconds.
Some rocking riffage, and then we have a nice clean button.
Yes.
So I just noticed something that amuses me very greatly.
Have you seen this week's Garfield comic? When will he get sick of lasagna?
In the www.stcleve.com webpage front album cover, one of the sections is local news, which if you look all the way down at the bottom, there's the title, James Duncan arrested in protest scuffle.
Easter egg.
Yeah, just below, clown to get serious. That's a really, really silly little fun Easter egg.
James, what were you
of
protesting?
Mr. James Duncan Anderson, yeah. We're gonna have to ask about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the music of this Banker Bets Banker Wins.
Yeah.
Shall we dive into the lyrics?
Let's get into it. This is the next step in this evolution of Gerald Bostock, of whom we are wondering what happened.
When last we saw our hero, he was gazing wistfully into his bright future.
His book of debts.
Yes, getting ready for his A-levels, and now we have the man. Education, micromanaged. MBA, a doodle mastered. City-bound Canary Wharf.
Education, micromanaged, MBA, a doddle mastered, city pound, Canary Wharf.
So far, I have the impression that someone, probably father, has recognized his talents and has said, oh, we're going to put you to use and you're going to become very wealthy, but you have to do exactly what we tell you in terms of your education.
Yes, it's actually dawdle, a dawdle mastered.
Oh.
And a dawdle is a very easy task.
Oh, there you go.
In formal British, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I always heard of it as a double mastered, so he just got a double master's degree.
A double MBA?
Yeah. MBA being Masters of Business Art?
Accounting? Business and accounting?
I am not sure.
I don't know. Katie has one. I should ask.
You should. You should know that.
But I don't.
Masters of Business Administration.
Ah, okay. Canary Wharf is a part of London. It is the central business district. It's like Wall Street in New York.
It's where the businessman wants to end up because it means you are successful.
It's got Barclays, Citigroup, Credit Suisse, HSBC, JP Morgan Chase, KPMG, Morgan Stanley, Royal Bank of Canada, Deutsche Bank. It's all the banks are there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. City-bound because he has to live in London, and he's in Canary Wharf because that's where the bankers are.
Yep.
A cushy number, fluky bastard.
A cushy number, fluky bastard.
Fluky in this context makes me think it's a stand-in for luck.
Obtained or achieved more by chance than skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a cushy number is either his office number or his suite.
Yeah.
He got the corner suite, not because he deserved it, but just because,
Yeah, that's the office that was open. Yeah.
He was in the right place in the right time.
Right.
So we have kind of this list of things. Education, micromanaged. MBA, a dawdle mastered. City-bound, Canary Wharf, and he's got this great location. Banker bets and banker wins. Never missed yet for all his sins.
Banker bets and banker wins. Never missed yet for all his sins.
So that is both the theme and the recurring phrase of this section, but also a reference back to the proof of the former section that he never lost a bet.
Right.
He always was making a good investment.
Right. Yeah. He made the right choices. He made the good decisions that got him to this place.
Exactly. And then we have the addition of for all his sins.
Right. Whatever they may be.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. I just want to go back to a cushy number. I think that can also be more broad of just this job. This job is a cushy number, a number being just like something. A song can be a number, an outfit can be a number.
Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe that's he's lucked his way into a really, really good position.
Right. Yeah.
Sooner than his peers might have done.
Right. Yeah.
It sort of has multiple possible interpretations, and all of them are good.
Yeah.
Hedge funds, wraps, and equities, lackeys, aids in fierce attendance.
Hedge funds, wraps, and equities, lackeys, aids in fierce attendance.
So we're kind of getting an overview of the material of his day-to-day work.
The business life. Yeah.
Yeah. A hedge fund I have heard of. Couldn't really tell you what it is, except that I know it is a big pot of money.
You save money for the topiary, I believe, that you
That's
want.
my hedge fund. Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm saving up. Every penny counts. Whatever wraps and equities are, he has lackeys, aids in fierce attendance. He has people who are hanging on his every word to execute whatever financial whims he wants to recommend.
Right. They're going to do their time to work their way up the ladder as well. Hopefully.
We'll get into this a little bit with some of the later verses on this, but it's worth remembering that this was penned in 2011, 2012, not that far away from the 2007, 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah.
Which we all had a great time with.
I look back on it fondly.
I look back in anger, fondly.
Wait, I just got out of college and can't have a job? Okay, cool. Great.
Fun.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We were fun employed.
Fun.
We continue with some of this catalog of what he's working with. Trusts and gilts.
GILT.
Thank you.
As in gilded.
Reserve currencies, liquid gold in safe ascendance.
Trusts and gilts, reserve currencies, liquid gold in safe ascendance.
I try to educate myself a little bit with the financial world. I've done a terrible job of it. But what has always struck me as I've learned more is, I thought it was just that, you would take money and you would invest it and the money would make money. Okay, great. There are so many different ways of doing that and so many different assets and like manipulations. You can, if you think that a certain currency is going to go down in value against something else, you can buy a bunch of it and then wait till it goes down and then trade it for another currency. I mean, that's not even real.
Yeah.
How is that even a job? That doesn't make any sense to me. What was the whole thing that we learned about when there was the meme stocks?
Oh, yeah, right.
That have happened over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Short sheeting, where you say, I think this company is going to lose money, and so I'm going to put money in a bet against that. And so if it loses money, I make money. What the hell?
Yeah.
That's literally gambling.
That's all that stocks is gambling. I'm buying this in the hopes that it will go up. And if it doesn't, hopefully I get out of it before I lose too much money.
The arbitrariness of some of the things that are traded just baffles me.
Yeah.
And when people talk about it, I'm always like, is that ethical?
Doesn't matter because it's legal. And that's how some of the most powerful people have gotten their money.
And it's legal because
that's how the powerful people have gotten their money.
Or the people who are in power are influenced by money from the people who've made a ton of money.
Yeah. Didn't AOC just put up a bill saying no one in the Senate or Congress can have stock? I think. Yeah.
Yes, can trade stock. One of the senators, I won't tell you which side he was on, said, well, if we can't trade stock, how in the hell are we supposed to make money in this job?
So much wrong with that statement, you piece of shit.
Okay. He knows it all. He's a Superman of investing.
Right.
He can do currencies. He can do gold. It doesn't matter. It all turns a profit in his hands.
He's got a diverse portfolio.
He's got a golden
toilet.
He's got a golden toilet. He's got a golden thumb.
Oh, there it is.
And then we have the filter section.
The bridge.
The bridge, let's call it.
Yeah.
Treat myself to quality time, test a Porsche, and snort a line.
Treat myself to quality time, test a Porsche, and snort a line.
Porsches are the playthings of the rich.
Sure. As is cocaine.
As is cocaine. And, they complement each other so well.
Oh my gosh, right?
Porsches are beautiful. They're beautiful machines.
And they're signs of...
They're a status symbol.
Status symbol, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And if you're rich enough, you can go and test out a Porsche with no intention of buying one.
Yeah.
Because it's in their interest to let you test it because you might buy it.
Right.
But if I went and tested a Porsche, they'd say, get out of here.
They're going to call the security guard.
The Fiat dealership is down the road. Eat Hermione for lunch.
So I looked up to see if Hermione was like a slang for food or a brand of food. And all I got was Hogwarts food results.
I think it is a reference to an affair of some kind.
Well, the next line is set that glam PA a jumping. Could very well be his PA.
It could be. I was thinking he has a fling with Hermione for lunch and he says, you know what? I'm going to take the rest of the day off. Let me call my PA. Hey, you got to get us tickets to something on the West End right now or you're fired.
Book front row tickets for something after we munch. Yeah.
Make sure it's something romantic.
Yeah.
Or you're fired.
Yes, Mr. Bostock.
Yeah. Kind of relating back to the education system in England, the UK, this notion of the fags. When I read Roald Dahl's, and I don't think that much of it has changed, but in Roald Dahl's autobiography, Boy, fags were assigned to an upperclassman to be the PA.
Yes. Yeah.
The aide in attendance. So it's almost training that social dynamic even when you're in school.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable ordering my PA around because I was trained to do that when I was in upper sixth.
Right. They train you for success, whether you make it or not. If you do make it, you're ready to be successful.
Exactly. And if you don't, well, at least you've had the training as a fag and can run.
Yeah.
And you know to jump.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that in Stephen Fry's autobiography, he had that in his schooling as well.
I think it was very standard at that age.
Yeah.
Something that Ian would have been very, very familiar with.
Sure.
And that Gerald would have been very familiar with.
Absolutely.
Going back into the standard melody, fast-tracked futures and hard-nut traders, feeding frenzy, pigs a-troughing.
Fast-track futures and hard-nut traders, feeding frenzy, pigs a-troughing.
You kind of get the sense that he's above the regular traders.
Yeah. The people down on the floor yelling and screaming and buying this and selling
He's
that.
above all of it.
Yeah.
He just waits till the piggies are feeding, and then he harvests them.
Bacon.
He harvests their bacon.
They're pork futures.
There he harvests their pork futures. One of the big scams that is out there these days is referred to in some circles as pig butchering.
Yeah.
Because the notion is you have to fatten the pig before you butcher it.
Yep.
Whether or not that was intended here, feeding frenzy pigs a-troughing, why are pigs reared? For to be butchered for bacon.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of get the sense of like he's feeding into a system. It is not fiduciary. It is not necessarily in the interest of the other people who are participating in this system, but it is in Gerald's interest.
Yeah. He can see them as something that he can take advantage of.
Exactly.
And gain from. Pig butchering, I just want to explain that. So pig butchering, the scam is, I'm sure every single one of you listening have gotten that random text message from a number that you don't recognize saying, hi, how's the car? And you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know who this is. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I was reaching Rachel. You say, no, this isn't Rachel. Oh, well, we can be friends though, can't we?
Right.
That's that bullshit.
They're looking for that lonely person who they can gain the trust of and then steal the entire life savings of.
Yeah. And then if you string them along and they figure it out, they get very upset.
Perhaps the only positive usage of AI that I've heard of recently is they've made an AI grandmother.
Yes, I heard that.
Who will take spam calls and just keep them on. Her only goal is to keep them on the line for as long as possible, telling these sideways stories that go nowhere. It's so funny.
So good. Comeuppance.
Yeah. Fueled by forecasts and hot share options, big fat bonus in the offing.
Fueled by forecasts and hot share options, big fat bonus in the offing.
He's got quotas, no doubt.
Uh-huh.
And maybe he's in the position to be able to manipulate the markets in such a way that he gets his bonus. I mean, who knows how high up he is?
And the forecast being like a financial forecast. Oh,
Yes,
we expect this stock to go up, so we want to buy it now, or something along those lines.
And I get the sense that this isn't just, you know, the feds say that they're going to reduce the interest rates again, so we should hedge our bets and put this money into this section. It's more like, hey, you know, the Fed is going to do this. So if you give me $100,000 now, it's going to be really profitable in 10 years. Oops, it wasn't. You lost everything. Well, you know, investment is risky.
Yeah, it's aggressive and disgusting.
Yeah. And then we get into what is the most fascinating part of the song for me. Draconian calls for regulation are drowned in latte with Starbucks muffin.
Draconian calls for regulation are drowned in latte with Starbucks muffin.
So the fact that we have calls for regulation of the banking system is very much of the time, you know, or let's say that this is, you know, that this song is set in 2006. Calls for regulation. Oh, we don't need that. I'm gonna go have myself a Starbucks.
Yeah, right. It's going to hold my attention more than this empty threat of regulation.
Yes. And then the next line, mortgage meltdown known as mea culpa.
Mortgage meltdown known as mea culpa.
Nick, our Latin expert.
It is not my fault.
It is not my fault. Of course, we just had the mortgage meltdown when this was being written. Threatened exit, stage left laughing.
Threatened exit, stage left laughing.
One of the most shocking things for me as a youngish person when the financial crisis was happening was the willingness of national governments and international organizations to bail out the banks. The banks that had, through their bad lending practices, caused the financial situation.
Yep.
Oh, we could have a whole chat about that, but I don't want to get mad. But I do think that this is a little bit like, you know, oh, the whole mortgage system is falling apart. Well, it's not my fault. And, you know, I guess the bank will just shut down. It's a threat of an exit.
Yeah.
And then the banker bets and the banker wins.
Yeah. And exit stage left laughing. I know exactly what's going to happen and I'm not going to get in trouble. They're going to bail us out.
Exactly. And they did. And now bonuses for financial CEOs are higher than they ever have been.
Yep. And minimum wage is lower than it's ever been.
Minimum wage is actually negative, weirdly.
Well, when you account for cost of living, it is lower than it's been in a very long time.
That's true. Banker bets, banker wins, never missed yet for all his sins. Banker bets, checks in the post, not worth the ink it's written in.
Banker bets and banker wins, never missed yet for all his sins. Banker bets, checks in the post, not worth the ink it's written in.
I don't know what that is a reference to, except, the common phrase, oh, the check's in the mail.
Yeah. I think that's in reference to the people to whom Gerald is supposed to be beholden. Like, oh yeah, I'll get you your dividend, and they get him 30 cents.
Right.
And it costs more to print the check than they earn in that money.
Exactly. I think that's spot on.
And he's laughing all the way to the bank, literally and figuratively.
Or if it's let's say it is a situation where, this bank is getting a fine for having done something wrong.
Yeah.
The amount that they're fined is negligible.
Also true, yeah.
But I get the impression that he is so good at what he does that he's just never been caught. He's never had any consequences.
Even were there consequences, he doesn't seem terribly concerned about it.
No.
It's like, did you ever see Wolf of Wall Street? I get very Wolf of Wall Street vibes on this.
I mean, it's sort of that setting.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's so good. Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic in it.
I've heard there are a lot of swears in it.
There's some cussing. I'll hold your hand if you want to watch it.
Hold my ears.
I'll hold your ears if you want to listen to it.
Okay. And that is it for the medley, Gerald the Banker.
That's right. Yeah, that was it for this iteration of Gerald's life. We are next week going into Gerald going quite the opposite swing here. He is swinging it far when he goes homeless.
Excited to talk about that.
I wish it was the same Gerald and he was getting his comeuppance, but unfortunately it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Banker Bets, Banker Wins reminds me a little bit of Lap of Luxury.
Oh.
Lap of Luxury aspires to be Banker Bets, Banker Wins.
Yes, right. Yeah. Lap of Luxury is doing the best that you can and putting on the facade of looking important and wealthy and trying to live your best life in that way.
And seeing the bankers and being like, I could be that. That's what I deserve.
Yeah. And then the Banker Bets is like, I'm wiping my ass with $50 bills.
Yeah.
Using a Porsche once and then buying another one,
I need a new Porsche to do cocaine off of.
The other one is red. I need a brown one.
The old Porsche is covered in cocaine.
Was it you telling me someone was going to like a black tie thing or something and they bought a Rolls Royce, but it wasn't the right color. So they bought the one that was there and then they bought another one in the right color for the black tie event right before it happened.
Did not remember hearing that.
Yeah, something like just obscene, very obscene in that regard of just like, it doesn't matter. It's like a Matchbox car to me.
Paul Hollywood has a big collection of cars. He's a big car enthusiast.
Yeah.
And he had, I think it was a Range Rover?
Okay.
A Land Rover. He had a Land Rover, very expensive car.
Yeah.
And he really liked it, but he had lent it to he'd sort of given it on permanent loan to his girlfriend, who then broke up with him.
And she was also probably like 30 years his junior, I'm guessing.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And after they broke up, he couldn't look at the Range Rover because she had driven it. And so he sold it and bought exactly the same model from exactly the same year in exactly the same color, but just a new, fresh one.
It didn't smell like her, I guess.
It didn't smell like her.
Oh my God. That's it. That's exactly it.
I mean, at least in that one, he sold it back, and it's sort of less, more understandable in a way. He needed it. He needed a new one.
Yeah, I feel for you, Paul. I feel for you. Is Hollywood his actual surname, or?
I think so. Because it's just the wood. The Hollywood was named after the wood of the holly.
Oh. Yeah, that does feel like an old Englishy name. Yeah.
It's like Oakwood.
But Oakwood's not a surname. I've never heard of anybody named Oakwood.
Sir Donald Oakwood.
That's your dad, actually.
Oh, yeah. Nick, next week we will be listening to Gerald Goes Homeless. Until then, I am a doddle, easily mastered Omen Thomas Sade.
I'm a fluky bastard. I'm Nick McGill.
Oh no. We are the pigs a-trothing the feckless momes. Nom, 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 nom.
And I assure you, there is no money in these goddamn hills. Mrs. Talk Tull to me.
That's right. Welcome into Peter's Porsches here in central London. Oh, Mr. Tallywhacker, it's wonderful to see you again.
Yes, here I am. I'm here on my lunch break. I would like to test drive a Porsche.
Well, Mr. Tallywhacker, that is what we are here for. Anything that you desire today, any of the new models, we have the G160 that's just come out. We have a wonderful turbo that's just been souped up. Well, what's your fancy?
Well, I don't like cars with a 1 in the title, so the G160 should be destroyed immediately. Get it out of my sight.
It's already on its way to the incinerator. That was a little joke that I had for you. Of course, we do have the Porsche 260.
Thank you.
The G260 that is ready to go.
Tell me, is it twice as good as the 160?
Well, I will tell you this, Mr. Tallywhacker. Taste is in the eye of the beholder, but it is twice as expensive.
Oh, even better.
And it does have twice as many wheels.
Oh, perfect.
10 of them to be exact.
I don't know what I would do with them. Let me try them.
Let's get into the car. Here we go.
It's so small and uncomfortable.
Yes, it is. That's to make sure that you drive it extra fast.
Oh.
See how the baby seal leather caresses your flatulent buttocks.
Oh, so supple. Thank you for letting me take off my pants.
Blow, I would never dream of having something as pedestrian as pants sully this fresh Porsche.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that smell, it's new baby, isn't it?
It is new, baby. Jennifer from accounts just had one. Snatched it right from her, stuck it in here, made sure to turn the heat all the way up so that the smell gets permeated through everything.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Here, turn the key. Let's get this baby on the road.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Mr. Tallywhacker, you've inserted a Porsche key before.
I have.
You know right where to find it.
That's it. Oh, I like the sound. I love it. It makes up for my lack of masculinity.
Yes, it does.
I believe I would even call it toxic.
Oh, Mr. Tallywhacker, this car does not run on gasoline. It does not run on electric. It runs on coal.
Thank God. I was hoping I could destroy the environment even more.
That's why the engine is so huge.
Oh, goodness, good.
Now let's get a big head of steam up and get on down the highway.
Is it steam powered as well? That's what the coal's for?
Yes, the steamometer is right here. It tells you how much steam you have.
The power. I feel the torque in my colon.
Yes, exactly where you should feel it, Mr. Tallywhacker.
Now, the most important question I can have while I drive over the sidewalk and hit random ladies.
Oh, that was a low-value individual, I assure you, Mr. Tallywhacker.
I would love to know, how terrible is the sound system in here?
Oh, it is absolutely horrendous.
Oh, thank God.
It will cause anyone within a 40-meter range to lose 30% of their hearing, but in here, you can barely hear anything, so you have to turn it all the way up.
Oh, thank God. And does it vibrate everything as it passes?
We've lost 3 hubcaps just on the way here.
7 more to go.
It's 7 more to go before you get your punch card filled. Now, Mr. Tallywhacker.
Yes.
I don't care if you buy this car or not.
Good.
I don't care if you drive it off of a bridge with me in it and we die in a fiery explosion as long as we're together, Mr. Tallywhacker.
I'm considering it.
You're one of our most important clients, you know that. But I do want you to know that as a customization of this Porsche G360...
Oh, it went up.
It went up while you were driving it, that's right. It comes preloaded with every episode of Talk Tull to Me, one of the playthings of the rich.
Oh, my God. I must tell you, Alistair, I was not considering purchasing this.
He called me Alistair.
But now I think I just might.
Press the button, Mr. Tallywhacker. Let the podcast sweep over you.
Oh, the one made of tortoiseshell and abalone?
Yes, the last tortoise ever shelled.
I like my tortoises shelled.
I love tortoises, but I hate taking them out of the shell.
Oh, just sometimes it's not worth it. Click.
My earlobes.
My earlobes.
My God.